Now, the bandwagon, as they say, was getting heavy. Everyone started to jump on the bandwagon again.
Portland is not in a position to try to come back, and he should just kind of leave that alone.
Stop being satisfied with mediocre performances.
I don't like it. Plain and simple, I really don't like it. An all-star game just shows how much they just kind of continue to placate the players and their lackadaisical efforts on the court.
You really sparked my interest, and I'm sure that of many others. Alister, Albert, thank you very much.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Baseline to Baseline with Alister and Orane. This is episode 15 coming to you on March 1st. We're starting the new month of the calendar year 2026. This year is just moving on really quickly. And March 1st, as you can see, Orane is in his Jamaican t-shirt because Jamaica, the national basketball team, the Jam Rockers, are playing their other World Cup qualifying game tonight against Canada. They had a little bit of a disappointment against the Bahamas last week, Thursday, on the 26th of February. Really close game. One people think, well, based on what I could see in the comments on YouTube, some people thought, Jamaica kind of let this one go away. Coach Rick Turner in his press conference seemed to allude to that as well. But, we're on to, like we said, another episode where we're going to mix in some of the regional basketball topics and, of course, the NBA like we always like to do. So Orane is blending in with his background. If it wasn't for his skin complexion, I probably wouldn't be able to see him. But, you're all good here. Thanks for joining as usual, man. But we'll jump straight off into the Jamaican conversation because I know you're heading to the game against Canada tonight. So what I wanted to talk about and start off with is that last game that Jamaica played against the Bahamas. It was a really thrilling game at the National Indoor Facility. 96-99 loss for Jamaica. Bahamas came up really, really well, shooting the ball exceptionally well. Their guard, Franco Miller, had 32 points, and the other Miller, Tavario Miller, 22 as well. Kind of really taking it to Jamaica. But of course, the Jamaican guys, really played well. Chase Odige, Kofi, and Tyran de Lati Baudier. I keep on mixing his name up. Are the top guys for Jamaica in that last game. Were you at that game against Bahamas?
No. I watched it. So I watched it. Jamaica really let that one slip. I mean, we know we're playing against the 15th ranked team in Bahamas, but third quarter, heading into the fourth, leading 81-77. I think that a lot of teams were hoping Jamaica could hang on for the victory. Heading into that game, 2 from 2, defeated Puerto Rico twice away, as we know. But it's not about the rankings. It's how this current crop of players are gelling together as one unit, right? And just a combination of unforced errors, time shots, poor defensive communication, and it's just Jamaica defeated themselves more than Bahamas Jamaica on Thursday night. And we are hoping that even though we are playing against a higher ranked team in Canada later this evening, we hope that together everything so they can get a win. Because one win from these two games will put us in a very good position to secure a qualification spot to the other round. So Jamaican fans, players, the coaching staff, the management is hoping that they'll put together a good 4 quarters of action later this evening.
That's it.
And hope we can pull this off. But we have a good crop of players, Alister, viewers, listeners, as we said. I'm very surprised at how well this Jamaican team is playing. A lot of overseas guys, mixture of youth and experience. And they're looking well. I mean, when I first saw this Jamaican team in Puerto Rico late last year, it really shocked me how well they were performing.
Right.
I mean, it's like you were watching an NBA team going about. That's how well these guys were playing. And I know Norman obvious reason he has NBA. But I think that even if we grab one, just grab one, so we head into the final 2 games,
right,
a more secured spot. I mean, we lose these 2 games, then they put us in a very precarious position, and we win. So we're very hopeful that the guys will put together things tonight, and we'll get big shout out to Rick Turner, what he's doing with the team. He's really transformed the Jamaican basketball unit. A lot of scouting, also assistant coach Ron Robinson. He has done a lot of work with local players. He's one of the best local coaches that we have in the country at the moment. I know those guys are working double overtime to get us up to speed. So we are hopeful, fingers crossed, hands clasped, that the guys will put on a show you can see.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And like you said, yeah, Coach Turner, we had the interview with him on episode 12, was it? I can't remember now. No, episode 11 it was. And yeah, we had a really good chat about it, and the enthusiasm that he had. I didn't see the game live, but I saw the press conference live afterwards after the Bahamas. And the disappointment you could feel from him was so palpable, because it's like, they really wanted to bring one for you guys at home. The first game since the Hurricane Melissa, and one of the first, one of the really high stakes games that you guys have had in the island for quite some time. And yeah, looking back at the highlights, it was something to see. There was a really bad start to the game. There was quite a lot of transition and open threes for the guys from Bahamas. And then you guys just kind of cut it back. You went on a 15-7 run and closed the quarter on a 26-17 run, taking the lead 28-26 after the end of the first quarter. And you could see that game was going to be neck and neck for quite a bit. And then came the fourth quarter, and the defense was just not, like you say, wasn't gelling. They played a bit of a 2-3 zone for quite a bit of it, and you could see some of the efforts to try to get to the guys shooting on the outside was not as crisp and sharp as maybe Coach Turner would have liked. And I think that's what he said in terms of trying to get the guys to understand the importance of playing every single possession as hard. And like I said, I didn't see the game, but looking at the comments from people who I think watched live and watched this on YouTube or wherever it was hosted, a lot of people were saying things like, Jamaica was a way more athletic team. You could see the talent there was a better talented team from Jamaica, but they let this one slip. There was a guy who said, how could you beat Puerto Rico and then let a little country like Bahamas come back and beat you all? There was so much enthusiasm and passion in the comments inside of there. But like I said, you guys have a really good team, and the trajectory for what it could be for the Jamaican national team could be excellent. And if they could pull off the win against Canada, who many people they're undefeated in their group right now in these World Cup qualifiers, and are ready to pose a really serious challenge to Jamaica tonight. So I'm really hoping that Kofi and Chase and all the guys kind of come out and really put a good foot forward. A lot of times, you just need to play up to your competition to get the best out of yourself. And I'm really hoping, that's one of the situations for you guys tonight.
I just think that you can think about it as a regular playoffs series. It was just one of those playoff games that you just have that one bad game in that series. Because everything that we saw in the first 2 games, we didn't see that in the game against the Bahamas. I mean, everything that could possibly go wrong went wrong.
And at the wrong time.
At the wrong time, as he said. So I think we hope that it was just one of those bad playoff games, and we'll get back to regular programming later today.
After this game against Canada, when is the next one? I think it was like July or something. When is the next game after this one? Are you aware?
I think it should be around that margin. So the next 2 games we play after this, Norman Powell will be available.
Right. Really? Okay. So that it will be July then. Yeah. Right.
I know that.
And who knows? We know Norman Powell for now. Maybe we might have some other players coming in. We have AJ Dybansta, who is one of the guys who has been linked to the team, and the Thompson twins, Amen and Osar. Detroit and Houston players, and we're just wanting to see, what will happen with them. Will they be able to come in and play with this team as well? I think it will just raise the excitement level for you guys even further. if Norman Powell and these NBA guys could kind of join Kofi and the rest of the guys on this team to kind of push them forward. So yeah, so let's see. Good luck for tonight. Hopefully, well, when this comes out, the game would have been already played. I'm hoping that when we do the next recording, we can say, yeah, Jamaica pulled off the impossible and beat Canada. I'm looking at the Canadian squad right now on my screen, and it's like I don't know any of these guys. I was even looking for what's his name, who played for them before and played in the NBA, Anthony Bennett. I thought he probably was on that team. Remember Anthony Bennett, first overall pick for the Cavs some years ago, and people considered him an absolute bust. But these Canadian boys, I don't know any of their I'm not familiar with them. That doesn't mean they're not good, because they are a really highly ranked team, and just like the American squad and all of the teams around the world, they have their the guys, this maybe the B squad coming into play as the NBA guys continue their season. So anyway, good luck for tonight, and we're hoping for a really good outcome for Team Jamaica. We want Coach Rick Turner to be smiling at the end of it and not looking as despondent as he did. All right, so on to topic 2. We, and you're still very well dressed for topic 2. The Indiana Pacers. Indiana, of course, one of their primary colors being yellow. I wanted to talk about these guys for a sec, because when we did a couple of episodes back, I think we said after the Anthony Davis trade to the Washington Wizards, and of course they already had Trae Young. One of the things I said was that I think the media darlings of the offseason will be the Wizards. But I wore this jersey because I think what we're seeing in the media right now is there's the narrative starting to build about the Wizards probably being the darling of the NBA next year. A potentially healthy Anthony Davis, a potentially healthy Trae Young, next to Alex Sarr, who's playing really well as a young center in this league, showing what he can do, and players like that. Everybody will want to see what will happen with Anthony Davis and his health, Trae Young coming back. Added to that squad, they actually have a nice little team on paper. But then I thought to myself, this sleeping giant there as well. Of course, we have the Celtics. Hopefully Jason Tatum will be all the way back, 100%. He'll be back to it. But the Indiana Pacers are in a position to be a nightmare next year, as they were when they got to the finals last year. We have Tyrese Haliburton coming back. They're a lottery team, meaning they're going to get a high draft pick to add to that. And then you have guys like Ivica Zubac, All-Star Pascal Siakam, Carlisle, as usual, leading that squad. I thought, it would be good to kind of do a little spotlight on this, because we have March Madness coming up in the NCAA college game, and a lot of these guys will be on display, in the tournament as they try to lead their respective college teams. And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. What did you think? We had Obi Toppin returning to the lineup, playing 4 games so far after a foot injury, making a very late debut to the season. And all the other guys that we know of, TJ McConnell, Jarris Wallace, who was a lottery pick from a couple of years ago, has gotten some really good experience and some good burn with the team so far. With all of the injuries, Andrew Nembhard, TJ McConnell, etc. What do you see from the thinking forward, thinking of the Indiana Pacers moving forward and what the teams are in the East? Do you think they could be problematic for the East next year, in addition to whatever draft pick that they get?
Alister, I must commend you before I even start. I must commend you how well you know your NBA. Because
That's what I do.
excellent job to come up with this one. I must give you that, because the Indian, as you said, they're a sleeping giant. As you said, the topics before we came to discuss this, I was looking at the potential starting lineup for the Indiana Pacers next season. Looking at Tyrese Haliburton at the point guard position, the Indiana Pacers, as you said, will draft high. Say the first pick or say the second pick. That would either be AJ Dybansta from BYU, small, or they could go Cameron Boozer, power forward. Cameron Boozer, as you know, is the son of former NBA player Carlos Boozer.
That's it.
So I'm looking at say they get AJ Dybansta. So we go Tyrese Haliburton at point guard, AJ Dybansta at the small forward, at the shooting guard, they put him at guard because he can play guard. We go Pascal Siakam, where you can switch them.
Mm-hmm.
Ivica Zubac. That starting five, Alistair, as we know, we saw with what Carlisle can do with, I don't want to be disrespectful or sound disrespectful to say mediocre, but known superstar, one superstar in Tyrese Haliburton and surrounded with very good players.
That's it.
This team in the East can cause damage. This team can cause real damage. Because when they went to the conference finals, they were not top 3 in the East in the regular season.
Nope.
They don't have to push to say we have to get the best record or the second best record or the third best record. We know, I mean, life is not linear. Like you go 1 year, you get it. It will not happen next year. But we know Rick Carlisle is a very good coach. And this starting five that I'm looking at potentially for next season could be very problematic for the East. And I think you're very spot on in calling them a sleeping giant for the 2026-2027 NBA season. Indiana Pacers are very primed to do something because they have all the tools. They also keep their bench. They can go deep. And we all know when the playoffs comes around, you're looking at potentially 5, 4, so that's 9 players in a rotation. 8, 9 players. Teams goes 8. The teams that wants to push go 8, 9. You don't see teams using 10, 11 players, 12 players in an NBA playoff series. Better teams 7, 8. So this Indiana Pacers team, they are prime and ready to cause damage over the East come next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, you know, as you would expect with any off-season transactions that would happen, other teams will get, you know, probably increase and get better as well. We saw what the Wizards are going to do. We don't know what maybe Brad Stevens might have up his sleeve in trying to get someone. The Milwaukee Bucks will probably be a totally different team without Giannis potentially. Like we said, Jason Tatum coming back. James Harden, an off season with Donovan Mitchell, and let's put it out there, potentially LeBron James as well. So the East could kind of change quite drastically. The Miami Heat were one of the guys really pursuing Giannis Antetokounmpo as well. They could have Giannis. What's going to happen with the Knicks? Are they going to keep their squad the way it is? The off season turnaround will be immense, but let's keep what we know as is. The Pacers were a team in the finals last year, and they created quite a lot of issues for the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have a team that, you know, has gotten a lot of continuity playing under Hall of Fame head coach who takes no nonsense and, you know, wants things to be done in a very crisp way. And, you know, he has a team of guys, you know, who want that leadership. So when you have someone like Pascal Siakam, a lot of people, including me, was really surprised that he made the All-Star team this year on a team with such a bad record. But that's because he's always consistent, always solid, always produces. And, you know, he's done that for the team this year, regardless of the record. And when you consider, like you said, I think the Pacers, depending on where they fall in the draft standings right now, looking at the ESPN mock draft, they're looking at maybe drafting at number 4. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen when the lottery comes around and how the ping pong balls fall. But I think they're definitely going to be looking for a forward. They're not going to be going after a point guard. You have Tyrese Haliburton, you have TJ McConnell, you have this is a really guard-heavy team at the moment if you look at the roster. So Darren Peterson from Kansas, you know, very good guy. You know, people are saying he could probably get to the number 1 spot.
I think top 5. Keaton Wagler out of Keaton Wagler out of Illinois. Those are the 2 highest speaking in the job. I don't think the Indiana Pacers are looking at those 2 players.
Yeah.
Out of Cameron Boozer, AJ Dybansta, I think the next player that they probably have eyes on is Caleb Wilson out of North Carolina.
Caleb Wilson as well. That's it. That's the guys I have down. And there's another guy from Tennessee, Nate Amends, you know, averaging 20 and 8 at the moment as well. So, you know, there are guys who are going to be showing in this tournament, you know, they want to be a top 5 pick. I think the Pacers will definitely be in that position. How high they go will be a different thing, but you know, they're positioning to get one of the top guys. If these guys land Cam Boozer, putting him next to Pascal Siakam and having a point guard who looks like he's so team oriented and just wants everyone to do well. He'll put a rookie like that in an awesome position to kind of really make an instant impact. AJ, of course, same for him. If he comes in, everybody has known his name for quite about a year now. Waiting to see what he's gonna do, and of course, what we're hoping if he could join Team Jamaica. And every other guy, Caleb Wilson from UNC, he's been phenomenal as well. So I think we could look out for a forward being drafted by the Indiana Pacers, depending on where they land, and who it is will be an addition to, like I say, a sleeping giant, because I think the Indiana Pacers are going to be a handful to deal with next year. The only thing is, when they got to the finals, nobody expected it. So there was a little bit of oh wow, what's going on with the Pacers? We have Tyrese Haliburton hitting, last buzzer beating shots, doing the choke sign against the Knicks and all that sort of stuff as they did. So, there was a little bit of a, surprise element that came with them last year.
Even with this roster, everyone healthy, no one will be looking at them to make the NBA fans, because we're still stuck in this big market, small market mindset.
Yeah.
Even with everyone healthy, no one is looking at the Indiana Pacers to make the NBA finals or even conference final next year. Even if they, as well as Detroit Pistons, start this year. That's just the nature of the NBA.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm ready to do something in the NBA. And we see what Rick Carlisle can do with a very crop of players. And it's just like, look at Cooper Flag with Mamba, right? Cooper, over the first, say, 5 games, I was like, this guy might probably need half the season to really get his feet under him.
Yeah.
The moment he started to get in that first 20-point, 10-point game, after that you saw the motor started running, and you see what Cooper, hands-on NBA Rookie of the Year for me. So I think bringing a rookie, a very good rookie, in the Indiana Pacers, no, they just need to be around the very good role players.
That's it.
Once Tyrese Haliburton, a very good coach in Rick Carlisle, and I think they'll do wonders.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree. And, when I had the preseason power rankings before, taking into account Tyrese Haliburton's injury, I had them just missing out on the play-in tournament themselves. I didn't think, they'll be able to sustain that. And so far, that's what's happened. Next off-season, they're going to be actually really high on my power rankings. I could guarantee you that when the preseason comes around, I'll probably have them in the top 16, because I do think this team will be, like we say, quite a handful. We don't know how far they would go, but adding a top draft pick, whether it be AJ Dybansta, Cam Boozer, Nathan Mentor, Caleb Wilson, I think these will be definitely the top 4 forwards picked in this draft. And we'll see what happens with that. So the Pacers, people, we're calling it out early. Look out for the Pacers. The Pacers are going to be definitely a trouble to deal with next off season. And in the next season, not off season. And the last topic for today, we're going to do a really quick one, because we need to get you off to the National Indoor Stadium to see Canada and Jamaica really soon. This one was a fun one. And what I used to do previously was on my podcast, when I used to do it alone, I had a section called The Footnote. And the footnote, because I'm a big sneakerhead. If you don't know that, you know that now. I collect quite a few shoes, and I suppose it's one of these things. Most sneakerheads will tell you, oh boy, when I was younger, I couldn't afford it. As I get older and I start making my money, I started to buy my kicks and all that. So I'm one of those guys, one of those sneakerhead guys. And this story came up on ESPN from SportsCenter, came up on Twitter, and it said that the Black Mamba, once you hear the Black Mamba, the first person you think of is Kobe Bryant. But what people didn't know was it was initially created for Michael Jordan in 2004, I believe. In 2002, whilst they were creating the Jordan 19, the Air Jordan 19. It was something that was created because of a technology that they infused into the shoe. They call it Tech Flex. So this portion of the shoe, they created this lattice kind of thing, and they tried to mimic the skin of the Black Mamba. And, it was at the time when the shoe came out, Jordan had just retired the final time after the Wizards. He played in the Jordan 18, and then the Jordan 19 came out this off season. You could see that little, impression of like this kind of snake skin pattern on the side here. And then, of course, the Tech Flex at the top to kind of lock down the shoe. And it was an interesting decision that they made, because Jordan has been known as the black cat. That is one of the phrases that they've used for him, you know, in the marketing of his shoes. So when the Black Mamba thing came out at the time, I was like, oh, that's an interesting diversion from what people know. But it was an interesting thing. But the only reason why it didn't continue, it's been said that Jordan was terrified of snakes. So they had that first initial campaign where they had the snakes all, I'll put up the image, the snakes all around the shoe on an advert. And then he allowed it to run because he created the image, and he said he never wants to see that snake again. And enter in Kobe Bryant, him taking on, that persona of the Black Mamba. What I think I sent you the link for you to listen to. What did you think about it when you heard that? Were you aware that it was created for Jordan before? And how did you think about it when you heard it?
Some of the best stories in life in general happens by accident. Yeah?
True.
One of the best stories I've heard. And to come to think of it, had Kobe Bryant not gotten that Black Mamba tag, who could have gotten it?
True. It doesn't fit anyone else.
It's 2020, yes, but I'm just thinking about the players that were around during that time.
Mm-hmm.
Wish would really take on the Black Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
Because what you don't understand, Kobe Bryant, after the shoes, didn't take on that persona. Kobe Bryant came into the NBA with this no-nonsense mind. That's why in his initial years in the NBA, he and Shaq could not get along as well.
Right.
Came into the league, fresh out of high school, I was like, yeah, I'm what the Lakers wanted for a long time. Because initially, Shaq wanted somebody else. When they told Shaq that Kobe Bryant was the rookie that they were saying, Shaq was like,
who's this guy?
Can't wait on this young player to get ready to in the NBA.
Yeah.
And Kobe was ready. I'm ready. And we all know his first NBA playoff season, what happened there.
Yep.
Tons of people saying he's not ready and whatever, and what came out after that. So I think that the mindset was already there. So when they gave him that Black Mamba shoes, he just elevated. It's like a movie like Mike. The shoes just elevate him to a higher standard. And I think that was one of the best stories I've ever heard. And Kobe Bryant just took that, made it his own, and they say the rest is history, man. Kobe Bryant, whenever you think about him, you think about his ruthless mentality, the Black persona, and just how dog he was on the NBA court. And you will remember the late Kobe beat Bryant for that. I think it's very, very good story about how Kobe captured that Black Mamba mentality and made it his own.
That's it. So you asked the question, who are the guys around that time? I just kind of pulled up on Basketball Reference at the time, just looking at the highest points per game scorers at the time. Tracy McGrady, of course, was the high point man, 28 points per game that season, but he was with Adidas. So Nike, obviously, that's out. Peja Stojakovic, wow, that's a name. Peja Stojakovic from the Kings. We had Kevin Garnett, who was with Adidas, I think, at the time. Kobe, of course, number 4. Paul Pierce, everybody knows him as the Truth. That wouldn't work. And the next Nike guys, just looking down, Vince Carter, I think he had kind of come out with the Shocks, the Nike Shocks thing at the time. So he wouldn't have probably been, maybe good for that. He had his own line going on there. Dirk Nowitzki, Michael Redd, Carmelo was already with Jordan Brand, etc., etc. So in all the players, Kobe Bryant was the person to probably have that moniker.
The only other player that could probably say fit that Black Mamba mentality was Kevin Garnett, and Kevin Garnett at the time was already known as the big ticket coming out of.
Yeah, he had his name, yeah.
It was just perfect. I mean, when they say the stars align, the stars align. And
absolutely.
It was just perfect for a young, hungry, ready player in Kobe Bryant to just take on that mantle and just run with it. And I think that's one of the best I've heard.
Yeah, and when it came out, it said that that was around 2004. Of course, we know what happened around that time. He had this court case in Colorado, the rape case and everything. He had just left Adidas. He had moved on to Nike. He was a sneaker free agent for a little while. So Steph Curry is doing the whole sneaker free agent thing. Kobe Bryant did it, and it set the internet crazy in terms of what he was wearing. He was wearing Iversons, Jordans, Nike, all sorts of shoes at the time. And then at one point in 2004, the Nike Huarache came out, the Huarache 2K4 basketball kicks. Those were actually considered to be, they were supposed to be for Kobe, but Nike didn't give it to him because of the case going on at the moment. They didn't want to put that PR spin out there, you rewarding him with a signature shoe, at that time. So the 2K4 was meant for him, but he didn't have it as a signature shoe. The next season, he went on to the Huarache 2K5, etc., etc. We had that story kind of going on. We're hitting the 10-minute warning now, so we're gonna wrap up in a really quick fashion. So the 2K5 came out, and then he had his own sneaker come out in 2006, I believe, the Kobe 1. And then so the Black Mamba was born at that point. He says after the Colorado case, in a way to try to separate his off-court personality and his off-court business with what was happening on the court, he wanted that separation. He wanted to compartmentalize his life in that time. And he was watching the movie Kill Bill Volume 2. And I think there's a reference to the Black Mamba in the movie. And he said he picks up the persona then. That's what he said. But I think Nike already had that in the kitchen cooking up as a marketing slogan. And I think maybe he just took it there. But Nike, let me tell you this as well. Nike, because I'm a little bit of a sneaker geek as well, Nike has a habit, not a habit, but they've done this before, where they've created shoes and marketing campaigns for other people who didn't want it, or they had to change course. I don't know if you know the shoe, the Air Foamposite. In early 90s, 97, 98, Nike created the Foamposite. These kicks were original. Who do you think, who are these made for, or who do you know them to be from?
97?
97.
I'm gonna go with Penny.
Penny Hardaway. So these are known as a Penny Hardaway shoe. These were made for Scottie Pippen originally. They were made for Scottie Pippen, and he looked at them and he was like, nah, I don't like it. It's a bit too futuristic and everything. And of course, the first colorway was the black and blue and black one. So I have the black, blue, and gray. But the original one, I'll put up the pic. The original one, black and blue. The classic colorway. Originally made for Scottie Pippen, and he looked at it and he was like, nah, Nike, you could do better. I don't like these. And then obviously it was passed on to Penny Hardaway, and Penny Hardaway made them as famous as they are, one of the collector's items of any sneakerhead's collection. And it was made for Penny Hardaway, but actually not even debuted by Penny Hardaway. It was Mike Bibby, playing in college at the time for Arizona, who wore them first. And it was a big thing where he wore them before the person who it was given to. So, lots of history there behind the sneaker stuff going on. But yeah, the Black Mamba almost didn't happen. The Black Mamba almost became, a retiring Michael Jordan, but it has rightfully passed on to a person who embodied that character in Kobe Bryant and made the Mamba mentality what it is today.
As you're on that, Alister, I mean, in terms of shoes for Michael Jordan has, if memory serves me right, I know it's over 10. Can't put the exact number, no. But of all Jordan shoes, signature shoes, which one is your favorite?
My favorite is between the Jordan 14 and the Jordan 11. The Jordan 11 being the black patterns one, the one that he wore in Space Jam. But the next really closest model for me is the Jordan 14 he wore in June 14th, 1998, when he hit that last shot over Byron Russell. It was an unreleased shoe at that time, modeled after the Ferrari. That's one of my favorite Jordans. Let's say that again.
So where do you rank the ones?
The ones are classic because it kind of started it all off. Started off the whole sneaker game as it is right now. The ones will probably be like, in terms of my favorites, probably like around the fourth favorite of mine. I think the older heads who were around that time and watched Jordan, come into the league and know how his impact, will probably have it ranked a lot higher. But for me, as a child from the 80s and the 90s, those shoes at that time was what I grew up with. So the 11s and the 14s, and I think next the 6s, the Jordan 6s will be probably my next next on the line. Jordan 13, and then maybe the 1. So maybe fifth, rank fifth in my favorites. So yeah, just wanted to bring this up as a nice little, different topic. We haven't really done anything off the court in this sort of way. But I saw this story about, this Black Mamba thing, and I was like, I don't think many people know that. So just kind of wanted to put it out there. So the Jordan 19 was originally what was considered, what was supposed to be the Black Mamba shoe, but Jordan hated snakes. Can you think about Jordan being afraid of anything? He hates snakes. So this is what this shoe was modeled after, but then after that, it went on to Kobe Bryant. So anyway, so this is the end of episode 15, ending on a lovely little footnote here. So of course, like we said, coming on to the first topic that we had, Jamaica plays Canada tonight, and we're wishing them all the best and hoping for a win. It's going to be a really good game, exciting game to watch. I'm sure the fans will pack the stadium to watch it tonight. And let's hope they could avenge the loss that they had to the Bahamas on Thursday last week, and let's see what happens. So I'm looking forward to hear your expert takes from that game, and maybe we'll have like a quick little wrap up of it on episode 16 when we catch up next time. So go enjoy that game. Looking forward to hear from you on that, and we shall see you next time.
Spotlight glow, breaking down the stats every fan should know. Trace, place, legends in the making. Every headline, no mistaking. Fast breaks, crossovers, highlight reels. What's real strategy, what's hype and feels. East to west, we call it straight. From draft night buzz to finals fade. Baseline to baseline, we cover it all. Big plays, bold takes, the rise and the fall. Baseline to baseline, where passion is prime. Your NBA breakdown every single time. Baseline to baseline, we cover takes the rise and the fall. Baseline to baseline, where passion is prime. Your NBA breakdown every single time.